Hello, everybody, and welcome to Untether.tv. I'm your host and founder, Rob Woodbridge. Well, there's a few challenges that app developers have. They are really core to the success of their applications. One of them is obviously being found. That is a whole other topic. But once you're found, once you're installed on the device, on your user's device, the real challenges are how much time people spend in the app and how many times they come back. So I'd like to ask you, if you're a developer out there or you're building an app or you're building an app for your company, how would you like to increase the average time someone spends in your app by 97%? Well, or better yet, how would you like to increase the number of times that they use the app by 89%? These are huge statistics, and that is what we're going to be talking about today, eventually, with our guest, Ran Avrahamy. He is the co-founder of Scringo. He is in Israel. It's like almost midnight. It's 11 p.m. there in Israel. Ran, thank you so much for coming out here and staying awake to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Rob.
So you run a company called Scringo. You're obviously based in Israel. Is that right? The company's based in Israel?
The company is based in Israel, correct? But we're on the line from Israel to San Francisco all the time. So we're pretty much global.
How important is? This wasn't even a scripted question, but it just dawned on me. Is it hard to launch a mobile startup in Israel where you're focused really, like the app economy kind of emanates from San Francisco, doesn't it? From the West Coast of the United States or from North America. So is it hard to be in Israel and run a company that is so dependent on North America?
Well, that's a good question that I ask myself a lot, actually. And to be frank, to be totally honest, it amazes me to see how you can start, and scale a company, big international company, from your coffee shop, with your laptop, right? That's the global community of startups, and that's maybe the beautiful thing. And even more specifically in Israel, we have so many startups here. It's like I've heard that Tel Aviv, which is where I am right now, where I live and work, is the second actually startup capital of the world after San Francisco, which is pretty amazing, especially when you consider the per capita here, which is ridiculous. So you just drop your pen, and when you hit somebody, he's like an entrepreneur, right? So pretty much everybody's here is about entrepreneurship and about startups, and specifically mobile. Which is very different than the old school Israeli startups. Did semiconductors and did microchips and did security companies, and now it's all about internet companies and mobile companies. And it amazes me also to see that the marketing and branding side that used to be very American oriented is now very Israeli oriented. So there's a very big shift going on right now, and it's just like one flight away, and whenever we need to go, we just go. And but soon, very soon, we will open up our offices in the U.S. And deploy from there.
Now, does that mean that you would actually move to the U.S. or would you stay in Israel? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because of the coffee, right?
That's right.
But I get my coffee from home.
You'll have to have it shipped there. But Israel's economy, technology economy, is very similar to that of Ottawa in Canada. Simply, we had a lot of investment in fiber optics and chips and semiconductors, and during the late '90s and early right before the bust, and when that happened, when the bust happened, we had to change the base economy for the technology community here, and obviously software is prominent, and mobile is obviously the kind of the democratization of entrepreneurship, if you will, right? As you said, you can sit in a coffee shop and build an app, and in fact, most of the companies that I've ever talked to have given some liner notes, some thank you to Starbucks and free Wi-Fi, right? As a result, they contributed to their app. So I'm just interested, and so
I think Starbucks should open up an accelerator, but that's like for totally different
but we often talk about Starbucks as the litmus test for technology, and they are a very advanced company when it comes to adopting new technologies, and I think a lot of the retail companies look at them and look at what they're doing and then implement after they've seen them be the guinea pig. So that's a great idea, and that's not a different I love that idea. You heard that here.
Yeah,
Ran, I'll give you credit for that idea. Yes. All right, so tell me about Scringo. Now that you're in Israel, you've started this company. When did it start? What does it do? Let's get into this.
Yeah, well, I'll give you the quick backstory. So Scringo was actually invented actually like a year ago, very like April 2012. So me and my two co-founders, both are very brilliant developers. I'm more of a marketing guy and business development guy. So we just, had some brainstorm. We had a lot of experience working with the developers and working with the app economy. So basically, what we saw is, sort of a pain, if you will, for this ecosystem. So people are developing great apps. Filling out their content, updating it, doing whatever they want, but the users don't stick to the app itself, and they just go away very quickly. And the monetization options today pretty much are like, there's like mobile advertising, there's paid apps, and there's in-app purchase. That's it. So we found these pains, and we wanted to solve them somehow, right? So we went to the place that it's very common these days, which called the SDK in the entire industry of APIs, which is basically very light developer kit. So just plug it into your app and do awesome stuff with it. So the first way that we've, our alpha actually back in was August, I think. Yeah, August 2012. Was this very small little like toolbar swiping in from the side, revealing a couple of features. And we played with it, and it was fun. We started to raise our seed funding back then, which we completed in November. And what amazed us is to see that there were hundreds, literally hundreds. Before our launch, we had more than 1,000 developers signing up for the service. And to be honest, what amazes me as well is to see that how the what I call developers community is like, getting into it. We have developers all over the world, building stuff for us, and chipping in and like helping out, and like spreading the word. And it's such a, I don't know how to say it, like a loving community, like that want to help and want to contribute, and they know that they're doing something good for their own sake. And that's like where we got the idea that we have something very important that we want to bring. And of course, we got lots of feedback from our developers and from the users. We got more than 1 million users before our launch from the apps that used our SDK. So we had the privilege, an amazing privilege, an honor, to just check out what the guys are doing, what they want, what they need. And, we made those adaptations, like, tweaks and UI and feature-wise, and all the stuff that we made for the Scringo 2.0, which is the current version that's out, that we launched like a month ago with our official launch. So, we've brought this complete and holistic solution for app developers in several criteria, which are reach, retention, and revenue. Those are the three main pain points that we want to help out for the app developers.
Yeah, what else is there, right? Especially for these guys. Reuse. You often talk about that. You go through an insane battle to get somebody to download your application, and
that's actually, to be frank, that's a different topic that lots of great companies are already covering. And we don't want to be presumptuous and like talking that we gonna help you with it. We're gonna help you make better apps and make your user just simply in the most simplest way to make more out of your app and let your users do more with your app.
Exactly.
That's what.
And I think that's exactly. The challenge is like, if you break down the biggest challenges in this economy, the app economy, that first one is the hurdle. Well, first you got to have a great product, have a great idea, right?
if you're not having like a great product and a good idea,
Yeah,
so
no,
drop
yeah,
it.
no amount of great UI or UX or marketing can save a bad product, right? But say you have that good product and you've gone through the pain of getting somebody to download it. As I was saying in the introduction, the next big challenge is getting somebody to use that and stay in it and use it more than once and twice, and it becomes part of their routine or part of their pattern. So
Definitely,
what does Scringo
definitely.
do to bring people in there? Like I mean, what is your core business? It's a plugin that allows developers to do what?
Yeah, so basically, as I said, trying to divide it to three, which is reach, retention, and
Mm-hmm.
revenue, and also we can divide our features accordingly. So we have a couple of features. I mean, the, again, as I said before, I really like to call it a holistic solution. To deal with those stuff. So we have what we call the social features. Which we allow, and we started up and we had amazing stats so far. Hopefully soon they're going to be published and out there. Um, and we can see that giving the users. All right, so let me go backwards. So if you and I are using a certain app, right? I mean, if we both like I don't know, the Raptors from the NBA, right? I'm trying Canadian. Um, so if we both like the Raptors, and we both use the Raptors app, for example. So we have that one thing, at least one thing in common, right? But currently, if we're using a certain app and we're not on a specific social network like Facebook or Twitter or whatever, I mean, we don't have any way to communicate with each other. So, our ambitions here is very simple: is to help every app, exceed its social limits, right? So, for example, let's go to the feature-wise. So we have a feature that we call messages, which will allow all the users of a certain app just talk to each other. And we have like a very cool thread, very WhatsApp kind of thread, very Facebook-like. Mine is the new heads thing. We didn't get that so far. But we give the users of a certain app, the ability to talk to each other and, to do more in that way. We have what we call live activity feed. So, we enable you as the developer to add like buttons or like high fives or like hearts, whatever you want to what we call items on your app. If you have images, if you have videos, if you have posts, whatever you have inside your app, you can enhance the interactivity around it by liking it or whatever. And we have a feature called activity where you can see all of those stuff running by, like a stream, a very fast one. And basically also for a new user, and that's the best feedback we got actually so far. It's developers saying to us, man, I mean, user just go inside my app and see that shit happen there. You can see stuff going on. You can see people signing up to the app. You can see who started following somebody else. We have this followers mechanism, very Twitter like, Instagram like. So in like a heartbeat, in like less than 2 minutes, that's the record time that we got from the developers integrating the SDK. In a heartbeat, you can pimp your app into a social mechanism beast. So we're adding much more features. I mean, for example, soon we're gonna launch what we call blog feature, which you can actually create a blog and let your users comment and let them interact and combine all together. For example, a case study: if somebody just commented on a post that you posted, you can pull it out from your WordPress blog. You can pull it from here. You can pull it from there. And if somebody commented, so everybody's going to see the comment, on the activity feed, and they can see likes, very Facebook orientation. So we've, very focusing right now on enhancing the social experience of every app. And we're seeing immense success with it. It's awesome. It's fun. So fun.
I can absolutely see this because you've offloaded like a ton of work from the development community, right?
Definitely. We want, that's one of our maybe, when we try to explain it to developers, we say, dude, I mean, focus on, building great app, focus on delivering great content, updating, keeping it fresh. We'll do the rest. I mean, just let us do it. I mean, it's easy, it's free. it's freaking free for God's sakes. So, just let us do it.
So, this, you could take all of your features right now that you have and just make an app out of all of those features.
Actually, we had one developer that, just like joked around with us and built an app with nothing but our features. We have one on Android.
I mean, it makes sense to me, right? Because there's pieces of here where, like, I love the idea. There's a company that I've done some work with here in Ottawa, in Canada, where it's a music application, and part of that was capturing live music scenes and photos, like Instagram, But I mean, we went through the process of building this out, and had I known about this, it would have been easier just to integrate the social aspects of what Scringo offers, and we would have been on the beach already. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. No, well, not in Ottawa,
no.
But
starting
somebody else.
The snowbanks. We would have been in the snowbanks. So at what point so you have all of these features? You have the activity stream, you have messaging, you have contacts, you have location. I mean, it brings it all in.
Yeah.
At what point do you look at this and think, well, wait, I mean, when's enough? From a developer standpoint, some of them like to build this stuff. Some of them just, from a business standpoint, they might just want to leverage this as a service and be able to move on very quickly for their, mobile has always got that promise of rapid development, and this allows it. But at what point do you look at this and think, wow, we're offering too much? Or do you ever get to that point?
Well, let's take this conversation aside and talk. It's more like a general startup thing. I mean, it's not specifically about Scringo or, about mobile. I mean, what is enough, right? So, to be honest, you'll never know when's enough, right? My point of view and my, rules here are just, one, listen to your heart. Go with your gut, and maybe before that is listen to your customers, right? So we are so open up to your feedback, and we listen up. We have boards, with what people want and how we can add it to the roadmap, and we're trying to listen up very hard. I mean, I think 70%, I'll say, from our new features came from the developers, right? Because they need it and we're here to supply it. So there's an obvious match we need to apply. So, but go with your gut, man. Don't listen up. It's also very important, I'll take it even further as a human being, to filter the replies and feedbacks you get, and take what you strongly believe that is important for your company, for your life, for your product, whatever. So just filter everything up. It's a couple of steps you need to go through till you get the thing that you're whole with. But let me give you a secret: you're never gonna be fulfilled with what you're doing. You're never gonna be you're always thinking you need to push it back time. You need to launch this 2 months ago. We need to. But it's all fine. It's all in a matter of perspective. Just be real and make it happen.
Okay, so I'm with you. You're your own worst critic. You're also, never satisfied with what you're pushing out there. You don't think you're helping enough. You don't think that the product does enough, and it's always late, and it's always, just a shade shy of what you wanted it to be, right? I mean, that's the entrepreneurial. Yeah. That's what makes entrepreneurs manic. It makes them obsessive, compulsive. It makes them who they are, right? Is that if every entrepreneur was satisfied, there wouldn't be entrepreneurs, because we would all be, fat and lazy, it
was so boring,
sucking on a Slurpee, right? So, So I love that. I love that kind of thing. But now you have to balance this. You're funded, right? You raised. Have you ever disclosed how much you've raised?
We raised just a little bit under $1 million.
But at some point you've got to be able to turn this into a revenue generating idea. So you got to put some revenue on this. So how. I mean, the obvious thing is subscription and users and all those kind of things that kind of escalate, and the cost escalates as you go. Is that the way that you're thinking about turning revenue on, or have you thought about that yet?
Yeah, so also that's a very interesting point, because I would divide, and let's go dive into business-wise, I would divide this world into two, spectrums. And one is, I'll call the Instagram spectrum, right? Built only on shitloads of users, like tens of millions, and got sold for like $1 billion. And the other one is like, don't count on user, just like, very go enterprise, go whatever, get like big customers with big money, right? So that's like a very, very large
Yeah.
spectrum, right? So and that's like maybe my life motto. You can ask my girlfriend that, but I always try to be, and it's not a comfort zone, but try to get the best out of both, right? So what we do actually, and we honestly believe that we need to get this service for free for developers, otherwise, they won't be interested. So this is a totally free service. I mean, yeah, that's a risk, but we strongly believe in the product, and so we wanted to give it for free, and it will always be free. I mean, we don't think developers should pay for it. I mean, developers, they work their ass off, so they deserve their pizza and their beer and their fish it, right?
But they also will take what you're giving them for free and hopefully turn that into a product that makes money, so they can do that for a living, right? So, I mean, they're going to turn they're not afraid to turn your product into money on their behalf.
And yeah, all right. So we'll get to it in a second. So that's maybe where we started actually introducing 2 weeks ago what we call our monetization features, right? So we bring alongside those social features, and I didn't even mention the radar feature that we have. It's like location based, that you can see other people are around you and start to interact with them. The feedback feature, which is totally awesome, that you as a developer can get feedback right back to your web UI, Scringo developer zone, and you can reply to those users, and you can have a totally new and like two-way communication path, like a thread between you as a developer and your users. And if somebody's telling you, hey man, this version gets stuck on this and this and this, and you can reply directly back to the specific user, and that's like stuff that increases the engagement. But put that aside, we've opened up what we call our monetization features, which is like the very first blossom, of the monetization path that we were going to. So what we're going to do is actually give the developer more revenue options, more streams for making money. So the couple of first ones that we introduced called more apps, like app discovery, that we allow the developer to introduce contextual relevant apps to his user. Very relevant, very smart algorithms doing those stuff, and of course the developer gets a very big cut, a very big chunk of the money, big revenue share there.
Do you get a piece of that as well then? Okay.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we were totally honest about it. I mean, that's our living. That's our one of our business models is to give more money to the developers and get the proportional cut for us as well.
Let me ask on that. Is that, I mean, the idea with the more apps, I mean, it's fascinating, right? Because you get this API or SDK built into how many millions of apps do you have it in now? Millions?
Millions? No, of apps. There's like almost 500.
Okay, 500 apps. Driving
with a couple of millions of users going.
Yeah, so I mean, you get those 500 apps at scale, right? 500 apps, couple million users eventually. That thing grows and grows and grows and grows, that pot. And then what you've got here is one of the greatest distribution networks for onboarding other applications with this more apps, right? So you are you selecting those apps, or you said it's done by an algorithm, but each one of those apps signs up with Scringo to be a part of that?
No, so all right, that's a good question, because some of the apps are inside what we call the Scringo network, that are other apps that uses us, but other apps are regular apps that are putting themselves out there for sale, to increase their the users. So we just like mix and match those apps out for sale with the apps that a specific user is using, and like mixing it up.
I like. Don't get me wrong. I think. Like it's my opinion. I'm a guy in Ottawa, right? You're a guy in Israel. But I think that you should only limit it to the people that are using your product. Now, the reason I say that is because your value is tremendous when you have hundreds of millions of users using these thousands or tens of thousands of apps eventually that are using your service. Perfect example. I just spoke with an entrepreneur who his name was Edward Marks, and he ran a company called Inedible Software, and they built quite literally a shotgun app and a couple of other apps that for the iPhone, right? It was early days, and the iPhone, and this is one of those apps that you just basically, move your hand up and down, and it cocks the rifle, and then you shoot, right? And they did a whole bunch of other apps, like with a guitar and air guitars. I mean, they worked on very early on in the App Store, and I think they had a total of maybe between 10 and 15 million people that installed the app.
Wow.
I mean, it was incredible. And then what they realized is that every app after that shotgun app, they would push it through. It was sponsored by ads. Basically, they made money by ad. They would put that app as the sole banner in the shotgun app.
Definitely, that's what all the guys, I mean, the big guys are doing right now. I mean, guys like Zynga and other
absolutely.
guys. In the world of games, it's very common, right? I mean, to promote your next feature, your next game on your current game. I mean, it's like increase the life, cycle.
And they did.
And
they did. They immediately get into the top 25. And I think that with 10 million active users, or 10 million users, 10 to 15 million users, maybe a small subset of that are still active using it. Like, I think about the power that you have just with that one more apps feature about getting it into as many devices as possible. Like, that is a pretty powerful revenue opportunity for you guys. Wow.
Definitely.
Oh, man, I love it. You got me hooked. So what else? I mean, like, that's one revenue opportunity. The great thing about mobile is that you don't have to stick with one, right?
Definitely. I mean, and that's the solution that we're looking for our developers. So we're trying, and that's where our partnership program is coming into hand. We're trying with many partners that we actually started working with, and will also be launched soon, to bring many solutions for this ecosystem, right? I mean, we strongly believe in partnerships, and we have great partners along the way. And basically, it's funny to say it, but some companies that you might consider as our competitors have become our partners, and that's my mama always told me, turn your foe into a friend, right? So basically, what we do is we're trying to bring in as much, a big amount of solutions like, what can I say that's not disclosed yet? Wait, other types of ads, video ads, rewards, loyalty mechanisms, many types of revenue streams and revenue models into one place. So our developers will have, the choice, very UI, very easy, to choose what's good for them. Whether if it's like, they know this will increase their eCPM, or they know this will, I don't know, be just the right thing for their app, right? I mean, maybe this will help you, and that will help the other one, right? So we want to make, again, I'm repeating that sentence, but a holistic solution. I mean, that's just one place for developers to stop by and, add whatever they want without any string attached, manage their social, manage their users, and manage their monetization. So we're partnering up with big guys right now to scale this up.
Man, it just sounds so sound, right? Like when you got into this, when you started Scringo like a year ago, did you have that in mind? Did you have the? Okay.
Hell no.
I love it.
Hell no. I mean, things evolve, and you've got to realize at a certain point that you're doing the right way. Of course, the big vision, we had it all planned out, like when I was born, right? But the bits and tiny pieces of the puzzle just collapse together, day after day. I mean, and to be honest, this is my actually first startup, and I'm just learning day in and day out, talking to developers, talking to users, building stuff that actually make them happy and make them satisfied. And we're just like we have our what we call more of a corporate structure, right? I mean, our long-term strategy and those shit, but we do it day to day. I mean, we live day in and day out. We're still trying to maintain that, we already got a couple of employees, and we got this offices and blah blah, but we're trying to keep that startup mentality and state of mind, actually, that if you're losing it, I mean, you're in a good way, but I love that state of mind. I mean, so for now we're trying to keep that state of mind, and just focus on it, and focus on making our users happy, making our developers satisfied, and building great features and a great product.
And so about the product, I mean, I love the philosophy that you're going through. It must be a challenge, first time entrepreneur, building out a company at the same time as you're building out a product. That's always a challenge. But I mean, there must be, what kind of thinking went into the product? Because if you didn't start with the idea that you're going to turn revenue on, like the way you're turning it on right now, and it's very much from your heart and altruism, and and for the good of the developer. When did that switch? And then what do you look at the features that you're putting in now with a different lens? Do you look at it like, our next feature has to be something that turns revenue on? And has it shifted your thinking from that time a year ago when you sat down and thought, let's do this for the developers?
Yeah, so let's do this for the developers. That's like our motto, just go into the office and like it's printed out. I'm kidding, it's not, but
it's in there.
It's in our hearts.
Yeah.
It's in here, and it's in here. Yeah, so, but definitely I'd say things are changing, and as I said before, I mean, we're doing stuff, based on our feedback, and based on our gut, and based on our strategy. So you have to mix these all up together and find the right path for you as a company and as a product to go forward, right? So it's all a mix of stuff. We had that revenue feature planned out like a couple of months ago. It wasn't from like way back. We had a couple of ideas, just bursting in and trying to deploy them, but there's a structure, of course, and trying to move forward with it.
Well, how are you going to show value? How do you think that you're going to show value to the developers? So that they keep using it. Aside from that, this is a robust set of tools that is free, which is pretty high in the list of that. Very cool. But at some point, these developers are going to say, "Listen, what we need from you is revenue." Like, how do you judge your success based on the developers using your product?
That's a good question, because our strong points for now, what we can say from our developers' feedback is, we make their users happy, right? I mean, they spend lots more time on the app, and it can accumulate it into money, whether if it's from us, from our monetization features, or whatever monetization options you will choose as a developer. Having those users inside your app twice will get there. I mean, that's the promised land. I mean, just go get there. So having the users staying more time on the app for once, and returning and having more attention to the app for twice, these stuff makes them as happy as like Santa on Coke, after Christmas, right? So, I mean, they're happy, and they're happy means we're happy. So yeah, that's maybe the bottom line. I mean, we see more time spent on apps, we see more interaction, we see greater engagement, and we're trying to escalate those solutions that we see so far into more money, and currently we can see it, and into more distribution, which is also a very big pain point right now.
I mean, you're hitting on all the pain points. The only one that you're not hitting on, well, you are ultimately, is discovery, because it's a big loop, right? You get enough people using it, that little thing at the end of it, which is more apps, is about discovery. So you're trying to solve that problem as well. How are you reaching these guys? How are you reaching the development community? You're a seed stage funded Israeli-based company in a sea of mobile that is raging. It's a raging river, right? So how are you getting in front of people?
I mean, that's that's maybe the toughest part so far, because again, I'm totally honest. I mean, there are literally hundreds of APIs and SDKs out there, and you're, as a company, in every economy, every ecosystem, as a company, you need to find your differentiation, right? So we know ours. I mean, I'm sure that I don't know how to sell it now completely. It will only get better with time. But a couple of friends with vast experience in the industry, and our experience so far tells us that just do your thing and it will get and it'll stick. So it amazes me to see that our we have a couple of forums that like people like developers are crazy about us. And maybe I think I started saying it before, that this developer community thing that I just got to understand, to realize how effective and how they're working for us. It amazes. It's like, it's so humbling and it's so exciting to see how these guys are helping us out. We're, to be honest, we don't go like to all of the big conferences and make like big billboards and stuff, because I don't believe that. I mean, we can do that. We can get like $5 million and do that shit, but I don't think that this is how you get to the real developers, to the core ones. You get them by being what we call viral. I hate that word, but I'll do this. So you get viral and you get hardcore guerrilla marketing, sites like Stack Overflow, sites like, developer forums. Just be there and answer as fast and as honest as you can, and, be straightforward. Don't bullshit them. They are as smart as people can be, and they know when people bullshit them. And, just be frank and, hey guys, this is what I do. We can help you out with your problems. Take a look. I'm here if you have any questions. And, we're just reaching out for these guys, for the core developers, and it just goes from there. It amazes us every day, day in, day out.
Yeah, it's a really good point, is that, you cannot fake being a part of those communities, can you?
No.
They sniff you.
Not in the developer communities. You can fake
everywhere
it
else.
In other.
You can.
Yeah.
You can fake it. You can fake it in mobile marketing. You can fake it in mobile strategy. You can fake it even in superficial mobile app development. You can fake it in responsive design and web design and all that stuff. Video. You can fake everything. Look, I'm faking as a broadcaster, right? But when it comes to being a developer, when getting into that community, you cannot fake it, because they will call you out. And they will brand you and brandish you and banish you.
They will smack you down to the
Absolutely.
ground.
So I mean, there's a balance that you've got to go in. I mean, free is always a good balance, but when you're approaching that development community, it has to be from the heart. It has to be for their own benefit, because if you go in there with a sales mentality, they will shut you down.
No. You're not selling carpets, right? I mean, you're not going door to door and trying to, to sell sheets. I mean, you're trying to understand their pain. I have like this, when I talked, I have like a couple of interns, doing like, business development and stuff. And every time I'm talking to them, it's like, guys, you have a couple of stages, to get it. I mean, first of all, you have, the reach. You have to talk to the specific people, and then you have to understand their need, and get like the sympathy, and like get the understanding from all the sides, and let them know what you're doing, and if it's it helps them, and just like sell. Basically, eventually you sell, right? I mean, we don't fool ourselves. It's a selling process. Actually, it's harder, in my opinion, right, to sell stuff for free than for money. But that's a different issue. But basically, eventually you sell, but, from a different perspective, from a different point of view. More, honest, more from the heart. You got it. You
create a trust bond with them, right? That what you're bringing to them is of tremendous value.
I mean, yeah, you're inserting an SDK to their freaking baby. I mean, you have to be honest there. You have to be, fully disclosed, no bullshit around. This is what we do. You want to use it? We'll love to help you out. Here it
So
is.
there must be some of these developers that have come out. You've got 500. You're embedded inside of 500 apps. Is that good or bad for you? Like,
Yeah.
are you happy or upset? Are you indifferent at this point about that?
My Jewish side will say, I can always do better. But we're so happy and so humble, and it's actually amazing numbers for us. We didn't even imagine to be in this place a couple of months ago. Um, but yeah, we have a couple of great apps currently. Amazing apps actually in the process of integrating Scringo and launching soon. And we're just getting more and more signups every day, and we have a couple of partnerships coming out soon. We're partnering up with a couple of very big development platforms. So that's another, regarding the questions of how getting developers, just, partner up with very good platforms. So we're doing that very soon. And, just scaling up currently. I mean, we're now in the business of
Yeah,
scale.
and does it change it for you at this point, or is it like are these features the ones that are baked? You've got a whole bunch that you're sitting over here that you might want to develop, but right now it is about scale and getting it out into as many devices.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. And now it's like, of course that we have like, our R&D product
Yeah.
roadmap along the way, and we're working hard on adding new stuff all the time. But we're now focusing on, spreading the word. We're talking to so many developers out there, reaching out, trying to be there, social media, offline, whatever, just to be there and let them know that this service is existing. I mean, this is
How long does
life.
it take for you to close a developer? Like, so say somebody either stumbles onto you or through your social outreach and through your involvement in the in discussion forums. How long does it take for them to look at what you're providing to them and say, "Oh my God, you are it. I need it right now." Like, is it days, weeks, months? Does it?
I think it's minutes. If
That's so true. Yeah.
No, really, I mean, because again, going back to the saying that they're not
Yeah.
dumb. I mean, if they get it and if they want it, they just sign up and they're just like, I see that. I'll say something like between 70 and 80% of the developers that sign up are testing it out, are trying it out. So they're not dumb, right? They know why they're coming into the Scringo.com and signing up, and they know what we do. And afterwards, if they like it, if they're not, it's up to them. I mean, again, fully disclosed here. Um, but it's a very high conversion rate. If that was your question, very high.
Yeah, I would assume that it would be. So,
Yeah.
what about effective use of this? Like, have you seen something that stands out that to your amazement, aside from the guy who built that entire Android, application right from all your features? But is there anything that stands
Yeah.
out that you think, oh my God, like this is exactly why? Like when you looked at it and they submitted it to you, they said this is what we're doing. You broke out in tears of joy because you said that is exactly what we wanted to happen from this.
I had it
Oh,
yesterday.
good timing then.
Yeah. Um, there's this boy band.
Yes,
Geez, I'm sorry about that. I can't
it's
remember the
okay.
name. Maybe I can, but I'm just embarrassed to say it out loud. But one of their apps, very big app, lots of users, very strong community of users. Actually, these guys, actually girls, most of the time, are very passionate. Very we want to talk, we want to. So actually, we got integrated with one of those apps a couple of days ago, and we see, the developer is brilliant, and he did, the exact things that we have built Scringo for, right? People are liking stuff all over, the app, and we help him actually to increase, going to pro version, buying the pro version, and this is like the perfect integration so far I saw with Scringo. I mean, by far, it's like textbook, integration.
From all
I think I had it. Like I think I had it here.
I'd be interested to. Yeah, I mean, maybe you don't have to say it here, but I'd be interested if we could provide a link at some point to some of the examples. So I can do that in the show notes, so
Definitely.
that we could, so that people can see and let their imagination roam to be able to do this. Yeah.
Definitely, and I mean, developers can, downloading the SDK. There's like a sample project inside that they just like, can put it out on simulators or like on the APK on the Android and just like test it out to see the functionality of Scringo. We thought that it was very important for them.
So
to
where
see.
do we send them to get all that stuff?
Just go to Scringo.com, sign up for free, of course, and enter the what we call developer zone, which is like basically the place that you do it all. I mean, the integration process itself, it's like 2 minutes tops, right? And then you can customize pretty much everything. I mean, the look and feel, the UI, the order of the features. Every feature is optional. I mean, monetization, non-monetization, feedback, radar, messages, whatever you want is optional. You can choose whatever right for you, and just go from there. And I mean, we're here to help on Twitter, on support@scringo.com.
And this is it's available for iOS and for Android. And those are the two platforms you're sticking with?
Currently, yes. I mean, we also support PhoneGap. Not officially, though. I mean, in the next couple of days, it should be like officially. Yeah. But we support PhoneGap and other HTML5 platforms as well. But definitely Android and iOS are the things to be in right now.
Oh, man, I'm going to watch this, and in fact, I'm going to recommend that a number of the guys that I'm working with try this out, simply because it fits the feature. It fits the features things that they're trying to build inside of the applications to begin with. So if you are listening to this, and if you are involved in the development of applications, or if you're in the business of application development, or if you are a mobile consultant, or if you're a company looking to integrate this stuff, why not look at Scringo? That's SCRINGO.com, Scringo.com, and go and at least get your developers on this to take a look at it and see if it fits what you want. And I'm pretty sure, if you listen to Ran, I'm pretty sure that this is exactly what you need in order to be able to dive deeper into doing two things. Getting people to stay longer in your applications, which is so important. And the second part of that, well, there's three parts. So the second part is that get them to launch the application more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times, because that becomes a habit. And we've just talked about this, the third thing, which is eventually tying a revenue base into that application through using Scringo. I think it's a pretty compelling argument to start using it.
We hope so.
I think it is. Yeah, I'd love to say this, is that when I knew you when there was only 500 applications using your software. So I will send them to Scringo. You should go to Scringo. And Ran, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you very much.
We've been speaking with Ran Avrahamy, who is the co-founder of Scringo. He's in Israel, soon to be taking over the world. Please go to Scringo.com and reach out and let him know if there's anything that you want, or there's a great, you can offer ideas for new features in there. But go and give it a try, and then reach out to me. Let me know how you like it. Rob@Untethered.tv, and I will make sure that I pass that on to Ran if you have any feedback or comments about that. But so Ran, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
For those of you who are still watching, listening, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, go to Scringo. That's all I'm going to say. Go to Scringo, and thank you for watching this episode. We'll see you next time on Untethered.tv.